Well, the Kaguya filler has finally ended in Naruto, and my final thoughts on this arc is literally, fuck you. This could have been the perfect chance to actually give some real good characterization on Kaguya, not Hagoromo on there, and Hamura, and it just felt like a best time and all that, and honestly, like, some people in this world, like, a wasted potential. You could definitely tell, though, like, I will say one thing, though, the second half of the episode I enjoyed a lot more, actually, than I did than the first half of the episode, kind of like when we got to see, like, a lot more of, like, what all the Black Zetsu stuff. I will admit, that stuff was actually, I really like that, you know, the whole masterminding stuff of it, but, man, what a fucking waste of potential. Like, we could have really had some awesome stuff going here with Kaguya and the rest of the characters. So I don't know how much of the time skip, they don't really give too much, but Hagoromo just literally completely changed his character design. Now I've got Cheekbones just gone like that, he's got the big old beard and everything, and I'm like, wow, like, you know, like, how much time did they actually, like, go through, like dealing with that stuff? Because I know, like at the end when they were fighting Kaguya with, like, Hamura, that was, like, months and months that they were battling her for. And him kind of going on, it's like, I at least appreciate what Hagoromo, he really did love, like, all the villagers and everything, and he was like, okay, I'm going to take care of these guys and everything, like, you know, I'm going to move them out of the village so they don't get in harm's way, like, they don't suffer. He ends up confronting his mother, and it's like, you find, like, mother, you explain to us, like, you know, we need to know, like, why, and all, like, you need to undo this ritual, and it's just like, there was some setup, which I believe were, like, we got some people coming, which were the Boruto, like, people, like, from what we saw, like, that was the Boruto villains, if I remember correctly. So I was like, there was a little bit of setup there, and I was like, alright, no shadowy figures. I was like, alright, have the Boruto people in there. And, like, ending up, like, Hagoromo ended up fighting Hamura because he was controlled by Kaguya. And, like, you know, I like that, like, the frog ended up saying, like, this is some backup stuff that you got. Like, you know, here's this Sage mode, and you release it, and it could be used. And it was like, oh, we're gonna see, like, you know, Hagoromo in, like, Sage mode, that'd be really cool. Ends up, like, having this really weird fight, which looks kind of rough, to be fair, at parts, of, like, Hagoromo versus Hamura. Ends up doing a Chidori right in front of his chest in one of the most anticlimactic Rinnegan and Mangekyo. And when he says, I've activated my Mangekyo and my Rinnegan, I was like, how the fuck do you know that? Like, how do you know what that is? Like, going into it, like, I was so, like, I don't know, like, maybe, like Kaguya explained that at some point, but it's like, look, like, it was just like, oh, I'm instantly transformed, that's how I did it, like, just immediately going through that. Like, there were, like, so many issues, and there's like, oh, I'm gonna use the Sage mode, able to, you know, bring my brother back, and I'm just gonna summon out the Trident, just out of nowhere, both of them. And when we got this, like, from this episode, it's like, oh, their epic fight continued on for months and months, and seeing the Ten Tails come back, which we didn't hardly see any of it. It just was like little clips here and there from them, and I'm like, really? You're gonna, like, this big epic proportion of a battle, we're not even gonna see it at this point? It honestly screams like this was supposed to be a much longer filler, but then someone in the studio just went, no, that's what all we're gonna be having. They sealed it by making the moon from this situation. I'm just gonna make this giant moon, like, showing this bitch after sealing them, which I was like, you know, we do know that that's how the moon was created. And from what we got with, like, Hamura, like, literally, like, saying, like, I'm gonna stay on my mother, like, you know, up at the moon. Seeing, like, you know, the baby, like, all the tail beasts, you know, all from 1 to 9, splitting the 10 tails into, like, 9 souls. And I was like, you know, there was some nice little parts on there, but it was just, like, that was just such, like, an anticlimactic, like, wow, that's all we got. So, Kaguya, once again, like, a spoiler alert, Kaguya is literally, like, apart from power-wise, character-wise, she is fucking nothing. She is a blank piece of she's just a blank tablet. That's all she is. Because, like, the best part of the episode was when you got to hear from Black Zetsu, it's like him being birthed and what he did, like, throughout the entire time. Like, he rewrote, like, the Hagoromo's, like, script in the, like, Uchiha place about the infinite Tsukiyomi, which led Madara down that path. And he ended up, like, manipulating, or, like, you know, Ashura and Injura, and throughout every single reincarnation, he kept trying to tempt them and pushing ways to activate the Rinnegan. And, like, out of all of them, it was up until he saw the potential from what we saw in, like, when we saw the Seiju with the Hashirama and Madara during that age, and then he saw when, like, Hashirama, like, and Madara had that clash, he took a chunk out with him and ending up using the Izanagi. So we finally get a little bit more clarification, like how he actually managed to survive that. He used the Izanagi technique. He was able to use that, ended up making a shadow clone because he knew Toyama wasn't going to get rid of like the actual body, wasn't going to destroy it, because he knew he wanted to do operations and stuff on it to find out more about them. Did that and managed to trick them with that shadow clone, and then at the same time, which was like really cool, like activating the Rinnegan, then using like everything he learned to the white Zetsu. It's like, you know, I felt like the second half had some really cool moments about it, like, you know, like how he manipulated everything from that like ancestry, and it's like he left the Uchiha down that path, and ultimately he's the reason why, like, you know, like we had this giant conflict between like Madara and all them. And it's like, that's like kind of fucked up in a way that, you know, that's like this did like in the end, but it was Black Zetsu, like it was him that led it all this time. It wasn't anything with Kaguya. He just did everything under her will. And that's the problem. It's like, you know, Black Zetsu feels more like the villain than Kaguya. Kaguya just feels like the muscles to this, and it's like, like, there's just so much, like, I really wanted to like, have more on her. And it's like, you know, Hamura in the end, like you say, like, you know, in the end she just wanted her love and all that. She lost a lot of love for like humans after like that day. She thought they could be trusted, but no. But it's like, I really thought we'd have a lot more of a deeper character than like with like, which is an absolute shame. I mean, we're returning to canon, but even still, it's like, I kind of go to this point of, what was the point of this filler if we're just gonna find out everything that we already knew about Kaguya? That, yep, she didn't like humans a lot, they were kind of dicks, that they, you know, well, her chakra, and it's like, well, she did open up to them recently, but we never got to see that on the screen. And then even this big epic battle that we was always told about, like, oh, how sick that was between Hagoromo, we just saw little screenshots of it. Like, I was like, come on, this is like Storm 4 when it's like, you know, they couldn't do any of that stuff, and I'm like, oh, I was really upset at that part. I can't take away from the point that this episode has some really good moments in there. I really did like all the stuff with the Black Zetsu stuff, but finally finishing off everything in the past with Hagoromo and Hamura, that was really anticlimactic. And like, just how many times that they just kept skipping around. Like, there was a point where it's like, oh, like the Rinnegan's activated, and then out of nowhere, oh, by the way, we're using a Susanoo, and I'm like, wait, what, isn't this supposed to be a dramatic moment in the series? Like they actually activate that, and it's just like, it screamed, we ran out of time. And it's like, if you wanted to have a little bit more time in the episode, then why did you have so much of like time put onto the Hagoromo and Hamura fight and like other moments in the series? Like, you know, you could have had that, or you could have pushed this part of the episode into next. Like, it's weird what they were actually trying to do with it. Like, but overall, I do like, you know, parts of this episode. It wasn't like I fully hated it. Like, so overall, it's like, I give like, oh, like, if I was gonna say the episode in whole, like, I would give it a 5.5. I think it's above average. I think there was some really good moments on there. But the first half was really fucking disappointing. Like, just how anticlimactic everything was at the end. But the second half, I really did enjoy. So, there was some good stuff, and then there was some bad stuff, obviously adding in some canon alongside with it as well. And next week, you know, we're back to canon, so we're looking forward to, like, seeing some of that stuff. And it looks really nice animation as well, so I'm looking forward to that. So, other than that, I'd just give it a 5.5. Like, honestly, I really wish I came out this more positive, but it's like, oh, fuck, man. I really wanted something, like, a little bit more on this. But let me know, you guys, honestly, like, your honest thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Do you think this kind of this filler was pointless, that we didn't, like, find out what we wanted to know? Personally, I wanted a little bit more characterization on Kaguya, because that was the whole thing. It's like, we're going to get a little origin of Kaguya, we're going to find out about more, but the only, like, most big part of information that we found out about it is that she's an alien, which just makes it even more sillier and stupid at that point. So, yeah, we'll honestly have to wait and see about that, but it's like, other than that, yeah, I was kind of actually disappointed at the outcome of this. Like, I was really a little bit expecting a bit more from this, but that's all from me, so thank you much for watching as always. And if you enjoy Naruto when it is good, then you know where to hit that like, you know, hit that subscribe. I'm looking forward to the canon, so we're finally, you know, talking about canon episode after, like, it's been a month, so, you know, that's not, at least it could be worse than all that. We went for like 8 months to a year to a really bad, like, pacing of filler going for it, so it could be worse. But I'll see you guys and you Naruto fans next time.